So before I get to my guest, I'm going to read an article that is really quite beautiful, and it will tie into some of the topics I will be discussing with my guest today. So listen up. It's called Practicing Grace: How to Bring Compassion into Your Interactions with Others. Compassion can change your life. Just as Dr. Gary Pasternak, the medical director of Mission Hospital in San Mateo, California, says, "I'm up late admitting patients to the inpatient hospice unit. Just when I think I'm too old for these late nights without sleep, a person in all their rawness, vulnerability, and pain lays before me. As my hands explore the deep wounds in her chest and my ears open to her words, my heart cracks wide open once again. This night, a sweet 36-year-old woman with her wildly catastrophic breast cancer speaks of her acceptance and her hope for her children. And she speaks with such authenticity and authority. Her acceptance comes to me as the deepest humility a person can experience. Then again, once again, I remember why I stay up these late nights and put myself in the company of the dying. Compassion may be defined as the capacity to be attentive to the experience of others, to wish the best for others, and to sense what will truly serve others. Ironically, in a time when we hear the phrase compassion fatigue with increasing frequency, compassion, as we are defining, does not lead to fatigue. In fact, it can actually become a wellspring of resilience as we allow our natural impulse to care for another to become a source of nourishment rather than depletion. Developing our capacity for compassion makes it possible for us to help others in a more skillful and effective way. And compassion helps us as well. Findings from recent research studies suggest that compassion plays a significant role in reducing physiological stress and promoting physical and emotional well-being. Grace is a simple mnemonic that is easy to remember, an important quality when we are in the midst of a stressful interaction or situation. Recalling the elements of grace allows us to slow down and be more mindful and aware in the process of interacting with another so that compassion can arise. It's quite possible to use grace in your everyday interactions and allow it to help you cultivate more compassion in your own life. And here's how to do it. The grace model has 5 elements: gathering attention, recalling intention, attuning to self and others, considering what will serve, engaging. This relates to ethical enactment. And we are going to discuss this a little later with my guest because I'm very excited to get her opinion on this. I want to share with you some more information about my guest so you can get excited to hear from her. In 2006, Theresa experienced her most personal trauma as she lost a child she was carrying. She almost lost her own life. With a strong faith in God and an incredible support system, she recovered from DIC, disseminated intravascular coagulation, and began her journey to help others heal from their trauma. Theresa is a trauma-trained, licensed mental health professional who works with the whole person in their recovery. Theresa specializes in treating all levels and types of trauma. She provides a safe, welcoming, supportive, and nurturing environment. She is a Christian who is open and welcoming to those of all faiths, who believes in a power greater than themselves that supports self-growth, unconditional love, and the acceptance of others. Theresa Hubbard facilitates various wellness and healing retreats at the Journey Home located in Dearborn, Missouri, which I can't wait to talk about. More information about the Journey Home can be found, in case you want to jot this down, journeyhomeretreats, that's plural, .com. Teresa's education includes a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy from Rockhurst University and a Master of Science in Family Therapy from Friends University. She is a licensed clinical marriage and family therapist in Kansas and a licensed marriage and family therapist in Missouri. She is trained to diagnose and treat a wide array of presenting problems. Theresa is a member of the American Association of Marriage and Family Therapists, the Missouri Association of Marriage and Family Therapists, and the Greater Kansas City chapter of the Missouri Division, where she serves on the executive board as treasurer. Theresa has completed both levels of training in eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, known as EMDR. Theresa is also an advanced certified clinical hypnotherapist, which I definitely want to get to in our interview. And with that, I want to welcome Theresa Hubbard to my show. Wow, it's great to have you with me today, Theresa.
Thank you, Julianna. I'm very excited to be here with you.
Oh, I am too. And you know what? Being originally from Kansas City and Dr. Michelle Robin, we both have to give a shout out to her, who I just love dearly and am becoming great friends with her. Thank you, right, for making this connection.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much.
Oh, and you know, I want to get a little bit into that article at some point with you when we kind of move a little bit more into compassion. But I want to begin by talking about, before we go to break, our connection with self. And I know that this has so many aspects to it. And I often tell people we spend a lifetime building relationships outside of ourselves and forget the most important relationship. And that really is the one with ourselves. And I think this subject ties in beautifully with the idea of being compassionate with ourselves and with others, like this article really demonstrated. So I want to talk about how we really learn to love ourselves, because we have to do that first and foremost before we can love another. Is that right?
Yes. I truly believe that in order to love others, to be compassionate, to provide grace, it is necessary for us to understand who we are at our core and accept who we are at our core.
And it's such a process, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, because let me ask you, and I know this is a big question, but when we think about what happens when we don't love ourselves, I mean, often when I'm speaking or working with clients, as I'm sure you have this experience, you know, it sounds very cliche when we say, oh, we have to, you know, love ourselves and that kind of thing, but it's so fundamentally true.
Yes, it is. It's very hard. We have a sense of that we know who we are. We've experienced ourselves our whole life, but it is difficult for us to separate out who our self is versus the self that we've taken on from our family, our teachers, our friends, our extended relatives. And so it's actually very hard for us to love ourselves without a significant amount of work and the help of others to really see who we are.
It is. And, you know, I love how you put that, because for those listeners out there, I think that it's paramount that we start identifying, you know, you said this kind of true self, or how it versus this, I'm going to say, family self, because, you know, we live in that family unit and we're so conditioned to those belief patterns and to those experiences that we start to really believe the story. Yes.
And we compare ourselves to people around us. Like I had a client that I was working with yesterday. We were talking about his experience of emotion. And he said, oh, I'm not moody and reactive. And as we discussed it, you know, what he was able to see was that he is, but it's all internal. But he compares himself to people who are moody and reactive externally, and then really has not an accurate view of himself and his experience with emotion.
Oh, and Theresa, that's a great place for us to pause, because I know that we're going to go to a commercial break, and I'd like to get more into this client's story related to emotion. So everyone, I want you to check Theresa out at www.theresahubbard.com. That's THERESA, and Hubbard is HUBBARD.com. When we come back, we're going to talk about sometimes this barrier that we might put up to protect ourselves. And we're going to learn more about emotion and her story. We'll be back.